Hello, it's Mr. Cerisa, and today we're going to go over in section 10.3. This is going to be the analysis of an ellipse. And this can be very easy. It's just you have to think it through and remember what the pieces are going to be. So in general, you know an ellipse is going to look something like that. The main points that I'm looking for, though, in the analysis of an ellipse, the first thing, make sure you know what the major axis is, because this will guide you pretty quickly in solving the problem. Find the center. That's also going to help you out and know where to start. So all these measurements, if you think of them as coming from the center, it'll make it very easy for you. For example, the vertices. This is just going to be how far away are you from the center. That's where the actual ellipse will be, wherein the foci will be how far you are from the center. So the vertices would be considered the A. So maybe it's at A plus or minus A0, or 0 plus or minus A. So it depends on which direction the major axis is going to be. So if it's using the x-axis, you'll have the plus or minus a, and if it's using the y-axis, you have 0 plus or minus a. And then the foci, that's going to be your C. So you're going out to left or right if it's the x-axis, or up or down if you're using the y-axis. So in between here, it's not something that I need, but it's going to be the y-intercept or the x-intercept, depending on which direction again. So this will be like your plus or minus b. Oops, I went in the wrong direction that time. So that would be 0 plus or minus b, or plus or minus b 0. And that's for what we're going to start with, is having 0, 0 as the center when you're working on this. And then finally, as part of all of this analysis, is do the graph. And sometimes I do the graph as it's going along, and that helps a lot. So remember, you have your basic equations going to be your x squared over a squared plus y squared over b squared, and it has to equal 1. Make sure that equals 1. If it's not 1, you're dividing through by that number. Okay, that will get you started, and then to find for the foci, that c squared, remember that's going to be a squared minus b squared. So not quite like the Pythagorean theorem, and there's no pretending that it is the Pythagorean theorem, but it's an easy mistake to make. So let's go through and do a problem. Let's do x squared over 16 plus y squared over 9 equals 1. So the first thing I would see is 16 is greater than 9. So that's telling me, oh, we're going to use the major axis as the x-axis. And so this just gets us started. There's not much you can do right now on the graphing side of it, but I'm going to begin graphing with the next point. So x, y. Alright, so the next thing I'm looking for is the center, and that center, not part of the graph, but it's just a good reminder. You're moving away that amount from the center. Okay? And then the next thing we do is the a. So a squared equals 16. You can do this one in your head. A is 4. And that's where you find the vertex. Okay? Let me write center at 0, 0. Actually, now too. Even though I drew it in. So the vertex will be at 4, 0 and negative 4, 0. Those will be the vertices. So again, if you just think, you keep thinking how far away is it from the center, then you'll find these points very easily, even when it's not centered at 0, 0. And then I like to find the y-intercept as well at the same time, because that's your b. And so you can see b is 3. And seeing that the major axis is x, we're looking for y-intercepts. And so I'll put those in as well. And this is going to help me guide everything. In fact, I could just graph it right now using those points, because what I really want to do is just do a nice gradual graph going around. And really, that's most of the graph. The last thing, though, is we need to find out what C is going to be. And so C is going to be our foci. So that's the square root of the a squared minus b squared, or 16 minus 9. So that's going to be, of course, square root of 7. And there's a plus or minus there as well from the center. How far is it? And so square root of 7 is about a little over 2.5. So I'm going to put the foci in there. A little over 2.5. Okay, and that's the analysis of an ellipse. Thank you. I hope this helped.